we both grew up Christian, and I've had a lot of iffy thoughts about Christianity, but I do like to think of there is a God, and it brings me comfort to think there is a God.
Okay.
Because I'm queer, and so obviously there's been a lot of everybody who's queer and grew up in the church has had issues with the church.
Yeah, I
and
understand
so
why,
there was like a little dip, and I was like, oh God, I don't want to believe there is a God because then he hates me. But then I go back up and I'm like, well, if there is a God, then why isn't he loving? You know, he should be a loving, caring person. And so now I kind of view God as like this person who wants the best for me and who cares about me. And I find a comfort within that to feel comfortable within my own sexuality and within my queerness because...
All right. It's just something to consider. I want to make sure that when I'm having these conversations with people, sometimes when we explore a topic like this, people can drop in confidence in whatever the claim is.
Yeah.
And so it can result sometimes in like a shift of worldview. And I just want to make sure that like, if we explore this topic more and you become less confident, I don't want that to like negatively impact your life. Does that make sense?
I don't think it will.
Okay.
I don't think it will. Yeah, I've had many conversations with many different people about God. And
I'm just some random guy in the park.
Yeah. So...
First of all, hi, I'm Nate. Let me get you my card so don't forget it later. Can I get your names real quick?
I'm Grace.
I'm Lily.
Grace and Lily?
Yeah.
Grace?
Yeah.
And Li, 2 L's there?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a niece and she has Lily, so I just want to make sure. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, cool. All right, so a little bit about what I'm doing, and then if you're like, oh, that sounds terrible, you can leave, it's fine. And we can stop at any point if you don't want to do it.
Okay.
So I'm having conversations with people using a method called street epistemology, which is fancy words for going out talking to people about how they know the things they know, why they believe the things they believe on the street or in the park. Well, that's a street, I guess.
That is very much. I saw them driving.
We'll count it. I mean, 15 miles an hour speed limit still counts. And so on the back of the card, there's more information about that, and there's websites and links. And you can check it out if you think it's something that interests you at all.
Yeah.
But the idea is that we can explore a topic, any topic really, anything that you believe or something that you know or are confident in a way that's not confrontational, it's not a fight, it's not an argument, but I will challenge you on some things. And so sometimes people do change their confidence levels on things. And my job is to be like a neutral party and just ask you questions. And by the end of it, hopefully you don't even know where my position is on whatever the topic is. So was there anything, it doesn't have to be from the board, it could be anything that you believe in strongly, or maybe just something that's been on your mind recently you'd like to explore.
What's the least topic that people have talked about on your board?
I haven't, okay, I don't remember what else on the board.
I can take a photo and show you.
So I think there's like stuff about like solar power, nobody's talked about that, or like green energy, nobody's talked about like, I actually haven't had any conversations about the 2020 election, which if I had done this a few years ago, maybe I would have. Or is Trump guilty of treason was one. So those are some political topics. Most of the conversations I've only had maybe one or two on. I've had 2 conversations about abortion. I think I've had 2 about the existence of God. So yeah, it could be anything though. It could be a religious claim. It could be a political thing. It could be a social issue. It could be in the news right now, LGBTQ stuff and like trans issues are really pretty major hot button issue.
It is, yeah.
So it doesn't have to necessarily be any of those things though. Like if there's something else that, you believe in, and you guys could have a different opinion on it too.
We do
sometimes.
So. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes we usually resolve like to one thing, but we did grow up with like different ideas and stuff like that.
Okay.
So what I was thinking while you were talking about that, I was thinking, I don't understand why some things are political. Like green energy, I don't understand why that's like political, I guess.
Okay.
Because I guess it has to do with science, right?
Okay.
And usually politics, I feel like some things are just so social, and then people don't think about like nature and stuff like that. Like when I see wanting to make the world like better, and you know how the earth is like slowly dying and stuff like that. I can't think of any better words to suit it. But I don't understand how people don't think of that as like something that should be concerning. And I don't understand how it gets looped into politics, I guess.
Gotcha. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think most people think it's concerning. Like, I bet we're all concerned about the earth slowly dying, but isn't there like a lot of the businesses that are making the pollution? Like, that's the number one cause of global warming, like the emissions, is from these big businesses, and they're funding the politicians for
And
their
that's what makes it
campaigns.
political.
And then the politicians are like, well, now I have to support you because you're funding my campaign.
Okay. So there's a variety of kind of ways
Yeah,
we
you never
could
know.
hit this. Generally, for these kind of conversations, it's beneficial if we try to make it like this is true, like something that you believe is
Okay.
true. So
Yeah.
that could be based on what you're saying. I can throw a few out there if you want to explore this topic. But we don't have to explore this topic necessarily. It could be something like big businesses are politicizing science, or maybe businesses are getting in the way of like environmental issues, or there's corruption maybe that is preventing progress on environmentalist
Yeah.
causes. So do any of those?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to
not
word
that
it myself,
educated,
and
I
I
feel
don't know if I'm doing a good
There-
job with it.
Yeah, we do. I feel like I don't try to get much into politics as much as I
Yeah.
can. So that makes me a little bit uneducated.
Yeah,
But that
I'm
was
gonna lie.
that was a big thing. Like, darn it, I don't even remember what you said.
So there's politicization of science. I mean,
Yeah, politicization of science.
and like unnecessary politicization of science, or if you think that there's a particular reason, if you think that the reason why science is being politicized is because of like big businesses, we could explore like that idea. If that's something you want to explore, or if there's something adjacent to that topic that you feel more strongly or more confident in, we could explore that.
Well, I also think that with like Democrats and Republicans lean more towards God, and then Democrats lean more towards science. And I feel like there's a clash when it comes to worldviews with that
Okay.
type of stuff,
Worldview
you know?
clash.
Yeah.
So if you follow a God and you're like, well, God created everything and stuff like that, so like there's no science, then it makes it harder for people to believe that there's anything wrong with the world. But then
Okay.
again, there's also the politics like government, you know,
Okay.
because we get stuff from China and they produce a lot of emissions, you know.
Oh, yeah,
so
that's
then
true.
that affects our trades, and that's a big thing with how we, yeah.
It's like
Okay.
we're so in one way that to get out of it, it would be like we have to start fresh, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm hearing like a couple of different things, right? And maybe you could look at it this way: like the biggest obstacle to environmental reform, or like a green energy revolution kind of thing. You could say it's big businesses, or you could say something like it's religion. So either of those could be a claim that we explore. Right now, we're still
Yeah.
just deciding what we're going to talk about, which is kind of fun.
Is it
And
recording
yes,
right
it
now?
is.
Yeah,
it
we're
is
recording.
recording.
Yep. So I know that there's two of you, so feel free to talk to each other about what you might want to explore, and
I don't know.
I'll pretend not to listen.
What do you think?
I already forgot what you said.
What do we want to explore? I feel like I'm uneducated on a lot of stuff, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I just have my opinions. I don't know if it's
And I
like
just-
true or not. That's what I think.
That's okay. And I think that's really healthy to know and be aware of the
Yeah.
fact that you don't know about some stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to preach at you a little bit.
That's fine.
So personally, I'm a big fan of saying I don't know when I
Yeah.
don't know. If I don't know a lot about a topic, I think it's a lot better for me to be humble and say,
Right.
you know what, I have my feelings about this topic, but I could be wrong, and I'm open to learning more. I think that's a healthy approach. So, yeah. So if the politics realm is something you're not super comfortable with, I don't know, science versus God could be an interesting topic potentially.
We could go with is there a God route, because that's one of the.
Yeah, we were like,
Okay, we could.
I
can
know
do
it's
that.
probably a popular topic.
Yeah, I've had I had one where somebody said there isn't a God, and I had one where somebody said there isn't one, or there is one, and those are the only two I've had on that topic. So
Really?
so we can
Well,
we're
I
open to
feel-
it. It'd be really interesting if you have different beliefs, but I'm not obviously be honest. But
Yeah,
we do differ a little bit with what we believe.
okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
do we want to explore that as the question? Like, is there a
Sure.
God? All right, so here I'm gonna do something a little bit different because there are two of you.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I hope I didn't mess up on my cameras. Pen for each of you.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And where are those? There they are. Okay, so without letting the other person see,
Okay.
right? Think about the question, right? So if the claim were, there is a God, okay, on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is, I'm absolutely confident there is a God, and 0 is, I have zero confidence that there is a God,
Yeah.
or maybe even, you could say 0 could even be, I'm very confident there is not a God. You could say 5 is the midpoint, I don't know. We could do it that way.
Yeah, let's do it that way.
Let's do it. You want to do it that way? Okay. So
Yeah.
like 5 is I really don't know. I have no idea. 10 is I'm certain there is a God. 0, I'm certain there is not a God. Take a
Okay.
moment. Think about it. Where are you on that confidence scale?
Okay. I'm gonna stand up for this one. You can't look.
Okay. Trying to think.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, you know what? I'll do it too.
Probably saw it. It's okay.
Oh gosh.
Let's hope Grandma doesn't watch this. She's gonna be upset.
Well, you
Which
don't have-
one?
You don't have to tell her about it.
She's very Christian.
Okay. Cool.
But it's okay.
I'm gonna keep mine down here, and I will only reveal it if you
Oh,
ask
sorry.
me.
Okay.
All right. So, is there a God? Confidence, Lily.
I put about an 8.
An 8.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah?
Grace, where
I
were
put
you?
a 9.
Oh,
9.
come on.
What? We're too.
I thought you were gonna go the opposite way.
I think I have my ideas. Okay.
You have your ideas?
Okay. Well, you're in a very similar place.
Yeah.
Neither of you are at a 10, meaning that you're not absolutely certain. So when you thought of 10, obviously neither of you went there. What did you think about, what did 10 mean to you, either of you?
You go first. Okay,
What
I'll
would
go
a
first.
10,
Okay,
what would
okay,
a 10
I'll go
look like?
first.
Is grandma on a
think-
10 or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just so like vague. Like what we think of God, like there's so many different like descriptions of what God is.
Okay.
So I guess it just differs like person to person, you know? It's very much like your own beliefs.
Well, if
So
I
I think 10
Yeah.
would be like, do you want to wait? You can go.
Yeah. If
Oh.
I see somebody write down a 10, then I feel like that their idea of a God and what they think of as a God is the only right answer.
Yeah,
Because they're
that's a
so
good idea.
believing of.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Or
That's-
maybe
let's go
maybe
with that.
somewhat less open-minded, more
Yeah.
more closed to changing their mind, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
I guess.
Okay.
I also
don't
feel
know,
the same
'cause
way
I
with
put
the
a 9
opposite.
and I'm pretty open-minded.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about it.
All right. So I guess each of you in turn, I'm going to let you think about it first. I don't often do this with two people at a time, but it's kind of fun. Think about the main reason that gives you confidence that a God does exist. And it might be a good idea, actually, before we move on with that. You were talking about, there's some ambiguity about what do people mean by God.
Yeah.
I guess first, when we say, is there a God, and you hear God, is there something specific you're thinking about, or what does the word God mean to you?
Yeah. Do we
Or
first?
you, whoever wants to
think-
talk about it.
When during COVID, I definitely went down the rabbit hole of like those spiritual TikTok girls. You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I could guess, but I don't.
They're like
have.
crystals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like
so-
New Age kind of
yeah.
stuff. Okay.
And so for a while, I was like, okay, that makes sense. But then it seems kind of like almost like capitalistic, Like they're trying to sell this idea. So,
Okay.
and I grew up like super religious.
Okay.
Myself, but now that I'm
both
older,
did.
I'm like, I don't know. My dad, he used to tell me like, I would be like, what does heaven look like? And he would say, we don't know. And so I feel like to me, God is this like huge thing Should we wait?
Yeah, probably. Motorcycles.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
we don't know, and
Yeah,
God
he's
is like
like
this huge
so
thing.
expansive, and so we try to put God in this definition that we can understand as humans.
Okay.
But it's way more expansive than that, I guess. So I don't know.
Okay. So could mean a lot of different things to a lot of
Yeah.
different people. What are your thoughts on that?
For me personally, for me to we both grew up Christian, and I've had a lot of iffy thoughts about Christianity, but I do like to think of there is a God, and it brings me comfort to think there is a God.
Okay.
Because I'm queer, and so obviously there's been a lot of everybody who's queer and grew up in the church has had issues with the church.
Yeah, I
and
understand
so
why,
there was like a little dip, and I was like, oh God, I don't want to believe there is a God because then he hates me. But then I go back up and I'm like, well, if there is a God, then why isn't he loving? He should be a loving, caring person. And so now I kind of view God as like this person who wants the best for me and who cares about me. And I find a comfort within that to feel comfortable within my own sexuality and within my queerness, because I mean, ever since I started getting outside of like this guilt for being like queer and expressing how I am, I've found so much self-acceptance, and more comfortability with religion, if that even makes any sense.
No, it
So
does.
I kind of view him in a Christian way,
Okay.
but I also I believe that anybody can view God in a specific way, and
Yeah.
it still stems from like the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Because since it revolves as like a comfortability thing, like a
Yeah, and we were just talking about community too.
community too.
Yeah.
Let me continue with
Okay,
my
okay.
thought.
Yeah,
Since
yeah,
it
go ahead,
revolves
go ahead.
as
Sorry.
such like a comfortable.
Okay.
Thing
Yeah,
for
comfort
me.
is a major thing here.
Yeah, then I feel like people who have like are Islamic, they might find God as comfortable for them too, and I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we move on, I kind of want to just check. You're talking about this idea of a loving God giving you comfort and making you feel like accepting yourself better. If you became less confident, like if your confidence dropped as far as the existence of a God, do you think that would change your life in a significant way and like how you think about yourself?
No,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think so. Well, religion has always been like a very big part of my life.
Okay.
So I feel like I would be a little bit different as a person.
Okay. Do you think that you would be less accepting of yourself or less comfortable or not?
It's a possibility. I don't know though. I've never thought of that.
All right. It's just something to consider. I want to make sure that when I'm having these conversations with people, sometimes when we explore a topic like this, people can drop in confidence in whatever the claim is.
Yeah.
And so it can result sometimes in like a shift of worldview. And I just want to make sure that like, if we explore this topic more and you become less confident, I don't want that to like negatively impact your life. Does that make sense?
I don't think it will.
Okay.
I don't think it will. Yeah, I've had many conversations with many different people about God, and
And I'm just some random guy in the park.
yeah. So it's somebody's like, God doesn't exist and you are going to hell. That's not going to upset me.
Now, if you came to believe, if you were to have a shift in the way that you think about God, and if you thought of God as being more of that, fire and brimstone, you're going to hell kind of God, would that impact the way that you perceive yourself or how comfortable you are in your own skin?
I think it might a little bit, because if there's like actual, like what you said, then it's sinful, that would be sinful. And that probably would shift a little bit, but I mean, I've seen how much how much happier I've been with my view.
Okay.
It wouldn't make any sense for me to switch, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Because it's like, it's been so realizing how illiterate I am. It's so freeing.
Don't worry about it.
Words are very hard. So freeing it has been. I feel like I've been actually able to like live, you know,
All right.
with the shift. So
Gotcha.
if that's what God is, then I'm leaving, I guess. I guess that's my final answer.
All right. So I'm hearing comfort as being like an important reason for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a different reason to be at 9 out of 10? Like when you think of, okay, why do I believe there is a God? What is the biggest reason? Like if we have a pie chart and 90% of
Yeah.
your pie chart is filled in, like how much of that 90% in the pie chart, like think of whatever reason would be the biggest one. Would it be comfort or would it be something else?
So why I believe there's a God?
Yeah. Why do you believe there's a God? What's the best reason for
think-
believing in one?
Because we're like here, you know?
Okay.
We're on this earth.
Like people,
makes
like
sense.
humans specifically, or just like that
Like
the Earth
everything.
is here, or okay, like the
Everything.
universe
the
exists.
trees,
Period.
The ground, us.
Space.
Yeah.
That's really fun to think about.
Okay, wait, actually
related-
that's trippy though. Like
Yeah.
when you think about how big space is, it's like,
It is pretty trippy.
is God like all of space? Or is it God just for
Why
Earth?
not? That's
like,
in the Bible. That's probably in some other religious scriptures too. So
Yeah, I don't know if they knew about space when they were written, though.
Oh
But
yeah, that's
neither.
true.
That's neither here nor
Wait,
there.
That's true.
So
well, they did believe that there was something.
yeah.
outside
Bigger.
of, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to go down that tangent necessarily right now. Okay, so a couple of reasons. The belief gives you comfort, right? Specifically, the belief in the type of God that you're believing in, right? Mm-hmm. And the universe exists,
Yeah.
right? Can we think of any other major reasons to believe there is a God, or are those kind of the two biggest ones?
That's really what I think about too. I don't
Yeah.
know what other things there would be besides just tradition.
Okay. Tradition?
Yeah,
Like
that's
people have believed it a
traditions.
long time, that kind of
Yeah.
thing? or-
Yeah.
Okay. If we were to rank these reasons, the universe exists, the belief makes me feel comfortable, and tradition, what would be the top one for each of you? You don't have to have the same answer. It's okay.
Wait. Like for us personally or like for the world?
No, like for
Like,
you
in general.
personally. Yeah, yeah. It's about your guys' belief, right?
Too open-minded.
Yeah. So just wanted to include everybody. That's
Yeah.
a good that's a good sentiment to have. So yeah. So Grace, you're at a 9 out of 10 that God exists. Is your top reason the universe exists? Is it comfort? Is it tradition? Or is it something else?
It's definitely the universe exists. I
Okay.
read this book, The Power of Now. It's by like Eckhart Tolle, I think. And he talked about how there's like a God is in all of us, and like God is in the trees, and like God is in us, and like we can find this
Okay.
sense of God and like peace in
Like
the world around us. I
this is a
guess.
fancy word. I don't know. Pantheism. Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay. I don't know if maybe it was in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pantheism
been.
is like the belief that like the universe and everything in it like is God. Like
Yeah,
God is
that's
synonymous
what I
with. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think. And sometimes I feel like people are like, "Girl, you're crazy," but I'm
Yeah.
No,
I've
there's a
heard people
whole-
say that
But I'm
before.
like,
Yeah.
it makes sense
For
to
her.
me. Like,
Feel
it makes
free.
a
Yeah.
lot of sense. I'm like,
look
okay.
look up pantheism
Okay.
online, and you might be like, oh hey, that might be what I'm
Yeah.
what I'm expressing. So, so the universe exists is your top reason.
Yeah.
Lily, is yours the same, or is it something else?
Sorry.
Oh goodness.
I dropped my pen and I
only
was
have
like,
the one chair.
It's fine.
I'll need to
so
make sure I
sorry.
pack more chairs next time.
I feel like it's hard to categorize it for me.
Okay.
So I feel like what she said, and then that there's a comfort. I feel
Okay.
like
So you're at like an 8. Is it like, 4 the universe exists for comfort, or is tradition a small part of it, or are there other reasons might make those up? Do you think they're pretty even?
God, I feel like it's even all the way around. For me personally, I feel like all of that kind of interwebs into each other.
Okay. So they all are valid reasons. Because you mentioned tradition. Like, is that one for you? The fact that
Yeah.
people believed it for a long time?
That's well. Also, if you grow up with that, that's like the only thing you know until
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
start going out
Yeah.
and to
I think
high school
especially
usually.
with like the internet now, you can see so many like different worldviews so easily.
And if religion, that's a sort of religion, I'm not even talking about Christianity is the only sort of religion
Yeah.
you know, then like what makes religion? Exactly, because like that's,
It's like culture.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
and then what makes your religion better than everybody else's? Obviously not really anything.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just what you've known, it's tradition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, could somebody be raised in a tradition and that tradition be false?
Yeah. But who knows? It's the
Yeah.
world. We're in the universe. Well, I don't
Okay.
know. God
Okay.
probably knows, but
Yeah,
who's
because obviously
God?
they're Buddhists believe one thing about spirituality, and Hindus believe in hundreds of gods, and and Islam and Christianity kind of believe in a similar God, but there's differences.
Yeah.
Right?
And Judaism,
Yeah.
it's like,
They're
The
all-
Abrahamic faiths.
Yeah,
Or whatever,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Is tradition this idea that people have had this belief before, and that people grow up with it and are raised with it, right? If somebody's raised with a particular religious belief, is that a good reason to have the belief?
I don't think so, to be honest.
you know what? For me, it all comes back to comfort. So maybe that is higher than what I thought it would be.
Okay.
Because if you
Yeah.
get thrown out into the woods and you're like, there's this God, and then there's this God, and then there's this God. Which one do you think is correct? I mean, obviously you're going to choose your own because that's
Okay.
comforting for you.
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
what you know.
So comfort is more important than tradition. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
I
but
know that comfort wasn't your reason.
no,
but
I think that's true. But also, like, you're talking about like community. You know, like people go to church every Sunday, and it's like the same people every week, and it's like a family. And so,
That's comforting.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's like community. It's like comforting, and I think that's nice. You know.
Yeah, there's definitely benefits, I'd say, to religious communities and community in general.
Yeah.
Not they don't even necessarily have to be
There's a bird on
religious.
my shoe.
Oh, nice little
He's a
dragonfly.
leaf.
Okay.
But is it possible for a belief to be comforting, but not be true?
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of, that's like a big thing of politics, I feel. Or a big
Okay.
thing of just like life in general. But politics, because we were talking about politics earlier. I mean, like addicts, they believe that like what they're doing is good for them, but it's not. Or they're so stuck on, you know, that sort of comforting feel doesn't mean it's good
that's
for
true.
them. And I feel like what level of what you want to explore is kind of, I feel like you have to find what's comfortable enough for you as you explore different ideas and topics. So I feel like
Okay.
you start off as this comfortable thing. For me personally, it was church. And then you have to go through this exploration of like, okay, what do I
Yeah.
truly think and what I feel?
Yeah.
Can that process be uncomfortable?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
so uncomfortable. It usually comes from like pain. I mean, you have to get forced out in order to go through that process, you know?
Okay.
Something changed your worldview, like what you've been
Yeah.
saying, worldviews.
Yeah, if you if a person, let's just say, I don't know, I mean, do you believe that like Hinduism is true? Or
I have no clue.
no idea. Okay.
No clue. That's-
all right, we don't have
that's
to pick
both of
any.
our
We don't have to
stances.
pick any particular thing, but like, let's say a person is raised in a religion. Let's just say they believe in a god. We can just make one up. Zurg, the god Zurg from Toy Story. I don't know. Somebody believes that Zurg is God or whatever, right? They're raised that way, and they go to the religious services for Zurg, and they sing the songs to Zurg, and they,
Hallelujah.
right, do that, all that kind of stuff. And it brings them a lot of comfort.
It's a raccoon.
Would it be good for
Sorry, that was
them?
off topic.
Would it be good for them? Let's say, and we know that Zurg's not real, and Zurg is a character from a Disney movie, right? Would it be good for them to stay in that comfortable place and not question the belief in Zurg because it brings them a lot of comfort? Should they question the belief in Zurg,
Yeah.
knowing that? Well, obviously, and we know that it's not true, right?
I think they should.
Or should they keep believing in Zurg?
I feel like everybody goes through the question.
Yeah.
I don't even think we need to
no
force them.
religious person is like,
I've never met a
100%.
person who's
Yeah.
like,
yes.
yes, I've believed in God my whole entire life, and I will never stop believing in God my whole entire life. You know?
Yeah. Would those be people who are like 11 out of 10 on the scale? Or would those be the 10 out of 10 people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably 10 out of 10.
Okay.
But also, yeah, I think it's good to like question, like almost like everything, you know?
But yeah,
Okay.
Like, you
'cause-
have to think of
Even if it makes us uncomfortable?
yeah, like all the different perspectives. Like I feel like life is very gray, you know. There's no like right or wrong answer.
You know
So
what?
I think
If
it's good to like
yeah.
question a lot of things.
if this person is praising Zerg and it does absolutely nothing to hinder their relationships with other people or like hurt anybody in any way, then I don't see why it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if the belief is only giving them positive things, right, only making their life better, and it's not harming them or anyone else, then it's okay maybe for them to continue with that belief and maybe not question as much as they could, even if the belief isn't true.
I feel like if it truly isn't true, I feel like there's going to be a challenge in their life where they have to, this isn't even going off of God anymore, I'm just saying, they're gonna have to, they're going to be faced with is this true or is this not true? Because I know other people have different thought processes than me, and they're gonna meet somebody who has different thought processes
Yeah,
than
exactly.
me. And then they're gonna have to question it. Or
Okay.
they're gonna think about it themselves, come to a realization, be like, you know what, there's a lot of people who are Jews. How come I'm not a Jew? And then they're gonna have to go through that, and then
Yeah,
It's-
kind of stepping outside of their own shoes and
Yeah.
and thinking about other perspectives, right?
which I think people do. I think everybody has the ability to do that.
Yeah.
That's just part of being human, I think. Until it comes to the point where they're so like scared.
Okay.
Then
so
they
fear could maybe prevent them from doing that.
Yeah. But
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like if you are positive, and it depends on I feel like it depends on the person who you're talking to. If I'm very positive about like, hey, you know, that's pretty cool, you like Zerg or whatever, and I like my god or whatever.
Uh-huh.
If you are a open-minded person, then it might make them
Yeah.
less scared to branch out and think about what Zerg means to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what? They might end up being like, I had this whole self-discovery. I became a Buddhist, and then I realized that's not good for me. And then I just ended up liking Zerg in the end. They went through that, and that's their own experience. I feel like what people view as God is everybody's own experience. Even the
Yeah.
major churches, even people who
Yeah,
go to
that's
church every
true.
day, that's your own relationship with God. You know, nobody can switch that. And then there comes to a point where it's like, okay, then what is God? But I feel like God is this
I feel like you
giant
just went in, like, a
concept.
giant
Yeah, a giant circle. What is God? I feel like God is this huge concept. I feel like God is everybody's idea of God. Is
Okay.
what
Yeah,
it is. Like
yeah.
you have a different idea. Yours is
Interesting.
more spiritual.
Yeah.
Mine's
Yeah.
more solid because I guess I just like it like that. But
But at the end, it's
Interesting.
the same. Is it the same God?
it's yeah. Is it just the same God? Just how we view it?
Yeah.
Is it? That's a good question too. But what you're saying makes me want to ask another question. So this might seem like kind of a weird question, but we'll wait till the motorcycle. He got his radio blaring. He needs to get the helmet with the headphones inside of it. I think he was at least wearing a helmet though. Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe not, I'm
amen.
not sure.
Good for him for wearing a helmet.
So you know that 0 to 10 scale we talked about before, right? With how confident you are that there is a God. On that same scale, feel free to write it down if you want to. How important is it for you to believe in true things? How important is the truth to you?
I don't even know. That's a good question.
We're learning things about ourselves
Feel
today.
free to take as much time as you need to think about it.
Okay, I got my answer.
Yeah, your answer.
Just kind of go with my gut, I think.
You know, I've thought about this question so many times, and I still sometimes go back and forth on it a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So, whoever wants to go first.
put 7 out of 10?
Put a solid 8 because that's for right now. It's a solid 8.
Okay. Either one of you, why are you there as far as how important true things are to you? Obviously, they're pretty important to both of you, believing in true things.
Yeah.
So why do you want to believe in true things, at least for the most part?
Do you want to go? Or do you want me to?
You should go first.
I don't even know. I feel like, what is true things? Like, what is the
I was
It's a good
thinking-
question.
I was
What do you-
thinking about
What do you
that.
mean by true, right?
Because for some people, it's different.
Yeah, like I have my own definition of what I think of what true is, but I'm interested in hearing what yours is. I don't want to
You want me to talk and then
influence you.
you can
If
think
you
about what
want.
you're thinking? Okay. Well, I think it is important to. You can't live in like a false reality. I mean, everybody somewhat lives in a false reality with
Yeah.
how they view things. But if, somebody's like, oh God, how do I say it?
Are there like downsides? Like, are there negative consequences to believing things that aren't true?
Yes,
Maybe.
because it can end up
Like
hurting
our
people.
like our phones. Is that what, that's what
No,
I'm
that
thinking
is
of.
not what
like
I'm
on
thinking
the
of.
internet, everything is so like
Well, that too, actually.
algorithm based,
Okay.
and so you don't see what's really true, and like you get stuck in this one belief, and that it's so hard to like break out the box.
Yeah.
But once you do, you're like, okay, wait, that makes sense.
People kind of get siloed off and partitioned into their own little
Yeah.
like thought. What do they call them? Echo chambers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've
You've
definitely
before.
I've been there before. You know,
Yeah, you have.
You get sucked down that rabbit hole, and it's like it's hard to
Yeah.
like, and that's just not reality. You know, like
Yeah, I recently installed like Instagram for doing social
Yeah,
media
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
with this, you know? Like I'm 35, so like I didn't have Instagram until now because I'm old. And I was like, I was posting little like clips and highlights from my channel on there, and I was like, I got on Instagram and I was like, it kept trying to like feed me conspiracy theories.
oh yeah.
I was like, Instagram, I don't want to watch conspiracy
sense.
videos. But it was like the first thing it was starting to push me to. It was
Yeah.
like kind of scary.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like there's ways in which we do that to ourselves
Yeah.
through community
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
stuff like
true.
that.
Yeah.
Well, usually when I think of like lying, I think of like feeding misinformation, like, oh, that thing's not going to hurt you, but it actually does. Kind of a, I can't really think of any
manipulation kind of.
manipulation, maybe, but maybe just ignorance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the COVID vaccines are actually going to kill me, and I'm believing that they're good for me, like
Yeah.
that would be bad, right?
Yeah.
Likewise, if I think the COVID vaccines are going to kill me and they're actually going to help protect me from COVID, that would also be bad, right? There is a negative consequence to believing the wrong thing,
Yeah.
right?
But sometimes
So-
you don't even know what the wrong thing is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's hard.
Sometimes we don't know what the truth is, but is there still a truth there to discover?
I don't know. I think the
I
truth.
feel like it depends on like
I
each
don't know.
scenario,
It depends
you
on
know?
each scenario.
Like sometimes in your life you're truthful and then sometimes you're not.
Yeah,
and
what
it's, like,
sort of situations can you think of where there isn't a truth?
I think of like dictatorships, like people who are like in certain countries where they're
Okay.
like brainwashed and they
Okay.
that
I guess aren't allowed to make their own decisions, I guess. That's what I think of. I don't know.
Does that mean that there's no truth or that they've just been taught something that's false?
yes.
I guess they've been taught something that's false.
So there's still like a truth
Because
out
they
there,
think it's
maybe?
true. And
Okay.
it's like, I don't know. They think it's,
I was-
that's what they're raised with, that's all they know.
I was thinking more simpler terms of like
What?
lying. Lying, like, oh no, I didn't steal that $10.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, I
That's
didn't take your
true.
$10, Dad. Like, I'm not gonna.
Being truthful, right? Yeah, that's kind of a...
No, people will be
Yeah.
like, hey, I gained something. I got $10. But you also, that can be.
You ruined your relationship.
You might
Yeah.
ruin your relationship with
Yeah.
your dad. You might develop stealing more, and then you start to.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you lied to yourself enough that you believed that it was your $10, you honestly truly believed it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Wait,
That
yeah.
that
I know
could
what you're
lead-
talking about.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Then
that
you're
makes
believing
sense.
something that's false, and that could be harmful, right? Even though you
Yeah.
got
Oh,
the
yeah.
$10, right? It still could have negative consequences.
Yeah, because, I mean, your actions have consequences.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
And I guess that does do somewhat like, what's the truth? Well,
Yeah.
you stole that $10 and now you have a bad relationship with your dad now. Right now.
Yeah.
So, and there's a negative consequence to that.
Yeah.
The truth is, you probably shouldn't steal without asking. I mean, you probably shouldn't take without ask before you steal.
Can I steal that from you?
You probably
Yeah.
shouldn't take something.
Yeah,
without
that's
asking.
true.
I feel like it's like
It's just
Something-
easier to be truthful.
Yeah.
it's not easier to be truthful.
So coming back to the
There's,
topic, I don't want to get too off topic, but I think so you both value truth. 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Why not 10 out of 10?
Good question. I feel like
I don't even know.
Is it ever appropriate to believe something that isn't true? Or is it ever good to believe something that's not true? To believe something that's false?
yeah, I think
What
so.
sort of situation can you think of?
You know what? There's people out there who think that my interpretation of God is false. And that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, is this the idea of, this question, is there a God? Is this the kind of question where there is a truth there?
I don't think there is a truth.
I don't think there is.
God is so like incomprehensible. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
reason why we have so many religions.
Yeah.
There's so many different truths out there.
Yeah.
Is it possible for all those religions to all be true at the same time?
That'd be cool.
I think it is. But you never know. It's like, who am I
That'd
to
be
say
really
that
neat.
what you think is true is false, you know? Like, how do I know?
Yeah, well, like we might not be able to know,
Yeah.
but is it possible that there's only one God and that God is Jesus Christ, but there's also thousands of gods? Vishnu and
yeah.
Shiva and like
That makes sense. They're
is
like
it
all hanging
possible
out.
they're both true?
They're all
Or-
hanging out.
It seems like I can think of times where different religions like contradict each other.
Yeah.
Right? There's either one God or there's not, or there's either hundreds of gods or they're not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes
'cause
sense.
There's
Okay.
people who do believe that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's
I
cool.
don't even know. Not gonna
We've
lie,
talked about a
that's
lot
so,
of
like-
things. Yeah, your brain might be getting tired. So we can wrap things up here pretty soon. Okay. So we've explored tradition a little bit. We've explored comfort. We've explored this idea of how important truth is to us. I guess the only thing we haven't explored is actually maybe the most important topic, or the most important reason, at least for you, Grace, and that's that the universe exists. That anything exists at all. So I guess is it possible for the universe to exist and there not to be a God?
Probably.
Me, yeah, probably. Maybe
I mean,
for you,
yeah,
it's-
there's people who think that though, like
Yeah.
scientists and stuff. That it's just
Okay.
like the Big Bang, you know?
Yeah, if like for example, if like a bunch of scientists, I don't know, made some sort of announcement and said,
Yeah.
I don't know, based on XYZ findings, we're pretty confident that we can explain how the universe exists without needing to have a God be part of that explanation. Would that lower your confidence? Have you found other explanations for why the universe exists that don't require a God?
Yeah, I might, to be honest, because I feel like we're still like learning things about the universe, you know, like
Yeah.
what people thought like 1,000 years ago is probably different from what I think right now.
Yeah.
And in 1,000 years more, they're gonna think something different once you like learn all the, new things about
There's,
us, I guess.
there's so many things you can learn about the universe.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day, especially with how big space is.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot we don't know.
There's a lot we don't know.
Okay. Okay. So the universe exists. That's the main reason for thinking there is a God, but maybe it's possible that the universe could exist and there's not a God.
Yeah.
We talked about comfort as a reason to believe things, but we also talked about how somebody could believe in something because it's comfortable, but that doesn't necessarily make it true, right?
Yeah.
And then we also talked about tradition, that people grow up with beliefs, but it's also possible somebody could be raised in a tradition that's not true, right? So is an 8 or a 9 confidence in the existence of a God? Do you think these reasons are good enough reasons to be an 8 or 9?
I don't know. It's hard for me to measure.
Yeah.
I feel like
Me
there's-
too.
when I think of things like this, I think of like so many like things that are in it.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, it's so like big.
It's a very
We could talk
complex
about it
topic.
for, like,
topic.
It's a
5
very
hours.
complex topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one thing that we've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of thoughts about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's hard to measure but for me and what I've experienced, I think it would be an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
You got a 9.
So you bring up things you've experienced. Are there like personal experiences you've had, or when you say things you've experienced, what sort of things do you mean?
I mean, I've had like family.
Yeah, we just
Things
like
that
grew up
happen.
in the church also.
That's not what I'm talking about.
What?
I'm talking
you
about.
In
No,
Vaughn?
I'm not gonna. No, I'm not
I'm
gonna.
sorry.
I don't want to say anybody's name or
Okay.
anything like
Okay,
that.
that was off the record.
I-
No, I was kidding.
let me know if you want me to bleep out anybody's names. Okay.
Okay.
I can,
Yeah, actually, that would probably be
I could
better.
drop those. So if you want me
Yeah.
to
Okay.
erase other people's names, I could do that. For you,
Okay, okay.
That would be
All right.
great. No, I mean, I've had a lot of family members who have had like experiences with God and stuff like that, and so that obviously changes. I mean, has a lot of influence on what I think of God
Okay.
as.
Have you had your own experiences?
Okay, one time I swear I saw like an angel or a figure or something. It's so
Yeah.
like vivid. I was just like watching something on my Kindle when I was like 8. And the door like opened and I swear I saw like a
Yeah.
ghost and like or some I
Okay.
don't know what it was, like a robe, like a thing in like a robe and like a crown. And so I was like, "Oh my gosh." But now
Do you think
I'm
that that sort of experience or other people's experiences, do you think that could be a contributing factor to your confidence?
Oh yeah,
Totally.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had like my own experiences with like seeing things also, like
Okay.
an
Yeah.
angel. It's only happened once, but it's
Wait,
happened.
really?
Yeah.
When?
When I was younger.
Oh.
Obviously, a lot of these things happened when we were younger.
Yeah. Do kids have more like open minds or something?
I don't
like a
know.
thing.
Yeah.
That is a thing actually with Christianity, where kids are more pure, so they.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is it possible for somebody to have an experience like that and be mistaken about it?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I'll just yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know that I have any other particular questions, but are there any other thoughts you want to share on this topic before we kind of wrap things up?
No. Just be open-minded.
Yeah, I think sometimes people
Don't be too quick to
can
judge.
use like religion as a way to like hurt other people, and you know we're all just trying to do our best. So I think just being like, you can believe what you want to believe. Everyone believes something different, but just be respectful of other people. You know.
Yeah.
I
Maybe
think that's the
not
biggest
trying
thing.
to push your beliefs on somebody
Yeah,
else
yeah.
and or being dogmatic or closed-minded about
Yeah,
it.
sometimes it can be kind of harmful. So.
We're all just trying to survive.
Yeah, we're just
I honestly, having a God is probably just makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So there's
Okay.
nothing wrong with that, even
Yeah,
if it's a different
exactly.
belief than what you think.
Right. Unless maybe that's somehow harming them or other people.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I think that's what you said earlier. So.
yeah, I find it hard for people to think of God as something like extremely evil, you know? Then
Yeah.
it comes down to like, because there's, oh, we're going off topic. Oh God, we're going off topic.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right. I guess the last question for you then is just, are you still at an 8 out of 10 confidence level? And are you still at a 9 out of 10 confidence level after this conversation? Once again, in the belief that there is a God, like God exists.
yeah. I might have to bump mine down a little bit, to be honest.
Okay.
Maybe
Why
to
do you
an
think that
8.
is? Okay. You think you might go down to an 8?
Because now I'm just like, there's so many things we don't know.
Yeah. You said that earlier.
It's
There's a lot
hard
of
to,
things we don't
like,
know.
Say that I'm right when I really just don't know it.
Okay.
I'm just
Hey,
An
once again,
18-year-old girl.
I praise you for that. saying and admitting that we don't know when
Yeah.
we don't know is, I think, a very healthy thing
Yeah.
to do. So, where do you think you are? Are you still at an 8?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So now you're both at an 8.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've had like my thought on religion for a while, so
Okay.
I don't think it will change too much. It might change when I'm a little bit older, but
Well, I would encourage you to, continue to stay open-minded about it, just like you said, though, right?
yeah.
Cool. Do you have any questions for me?
What are your thoughts? On
Do you want to know
what's
where my number is?
Yeah.
your
Okay,
number?
My number is at the top.
1.
One.
So you don't think there's God?
I think it's pretty unlikely. Yeah, or maybe I should put it a different way. I have pretty low confidence that there is one.
Yeah.
It's possible, so I didn't put a 0.
Yeah.
And I think it's definitely possible depending on your definition
Yeah.
of what a god is. So, some gods I might give even like a 2 or a 3 to.
Yeah.
Like pantheism, right? Kind of the thing that we talked about before about like, oh, the world is God, and the tree is God, and you're God, and all that kind of stuff. Like beliefs about God that are like that, like those kind of gods, or gods kind of like the same as the universe. Those I maybe be a 3 at, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But a God that is like all powerful, all knowing, all loving, omnipresent, all the that sort of God I'm more like at a 0 at.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends on the definition. So I went with a 1 because it's kind of in between there. So
It's
that's
cool.
where I'm at. And then for how important true things are, for me to believe true things, I went somewhere between 9 and 10. Because I want to say 10, but I think partially with the things that you said about comfort, I think you're somewhat right about that. I think
Oh, he's got like
It was
a
a speedboat.
ski or
I
something.
didn't know you could do that on this river.
I didn't know
Oh,
that either.
shoot.
New plans for the summer,
Right.
right?
Let's get over.
Can you scoot over? We have this. You have more seats.
We're almost done, so
Yeah, we're almost done.
Okay.
Yeah, so like what you were talking about with like comfort, I think there are probably some situations where for certain people in certain situations, it might be beneficial for them to believe in something that's not true. But I think it's pretty rare for that to be a situation. I'm thinking about like certain like mental health things and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like if somebody's really depressed or something, but they can believe in some sort of, if there's some sort of belief they have, even if it's not true, but it gives them a lot of hope. I think that in some situations like that, it can be okay
Yeah,
to
that
believe
makes
things that
sense.
aren't true.
Yeah.
I think most of the time, though, believing true things is much more beneficial.
Yeah.
Personally, that is kind of somewhat my experience. So maybe
Okay.
that's why it's more of on a lower end for me. But I think a lot of it has to do with personal experience. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I understand where you come from with all that
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, any other questions do you have for me? Or thoughts?
I don't know. Not really. Do you?
No, I don't have any thoughts.
All right, cool. Well, you have my card. Once again, I'm doing something called Street Epistemology. It's all about just having these kind of friendly, open conversations. Did you think I was there? Did you have any idea where I was on this
I
topic?
don't know.
Not
I don't know.
really.
It's
I had
really
no idea.
I don't know.
That's good because that's my goal. Is to try to I
Yeah.
try to be as neutral as I can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not influence one way or the other. Just
That's great.
ask questions to explore why you believe what you do. So
Yeah.
cool.
I have a few teachers like that, so
Oh, yeah?
it's nice because you're a teacher. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
What do you
I know that's like a
teach?
big thing.
I
about-
teach biology and biomedical science.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that makes sense.
You're kind of sciencey.
You're sciencey.
Yeah, I am sciencey. And that goes back to the thing you said earlier about like science versus religion or something
Yeah.
like that, which
Yeah.
is an interesting topic that could be a fun one to explore some other time. So if you see me in the park again,
Talk about
in
science.
the meantime, you can find me online. My
Okay.
email address is on there, so if you ever need to get a hold of me or want
Cool.
to ask me any other questions about what I'm doing or whatever, I'm on there.
Okay.
Cool. It was really fun. I
Yeah,
at
this is nice
least
to meet
I had a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
me
Thanks,
too.
Lily.
I'm glad
Grace?
you were patient with us. I know we're all
no
over the
problem.
place.
No, it was
We
a lot
really
of
are.
fun. It was a great talk.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, have a good one. Oh,
too.
there's some water. After all that talking, your mouth might be dry. There's some free water in the cooler if you want some water. Yep, you're welcome. We were talking for almost an hour.
Oh my gosh.
I probably hey yeah, it'll take a little while, but it was a really good talk though. I really enjoyed it. So appreciate it.
Yeah.
You too.